Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome. I am back with another video in our game animation sample project. We are working on a lock-on system, so let's finish that up. We still have some issues. You can see here in the replication. Wait, I need to bring that up again. Oh, sorry. You can see here if we focus our client here, and if I lock on to one enemy, you can see on the tiny screen up here that we are actually rotating towards stuff, but on the other one we are not. So that's one thing we need to fix, and that's sorry about that, that's just me preparing for a fix later. So basically we need to replicate that part. So what happens is in our lock-on function, when we toggle the lock-on, we have this server event. So this is locked on, and here we lock off. So it's a client RPC that calls the lock-on function on the client. So this function here, it's basically sets the orient rotation to movement and use controller desired rotation, depending on if we are locked on. If we are locked on, we do not want to orient rotation to movement, and vice versa. And if we are locked on, we want to use controller desired rotation, and vice versa. Then we send that to the server and we trigger the same event. And that's not enough for replication. It's my mistake. I thought that it would be, since it's in the character movement component and some stuff in there replicates fine, some things do not replicate by themselves. So in this case, we actually need to update this manually on all the client. So this is a good opportunity to show you. I probably did show this before, but just to keep explaining so that you actually learn stuff, is we could make another custom event here and call it multicast server lock on movement, and then just trigger that here as well as a multicast, because this component gets the owner, casts to a character, and it gets the character movement component. So this is going to work. The owner is the same on each client, so this multicast will work, and all the clients will now have this change happen if we multicast it here. So if we do like this, so a lot of people will probably do this and be like, ah, this is fine, this is how to replicate a thing like this. And in some cases this actually is fine, but if I now look on here, you can see that we actually do have the correct rotation on the clients, and it is working as intended. So at first glance this actually does look fine, but multicasts are for quick one-off events. They are not for state changes and things like that. So this is more of a state change. There's something permanent or a change that goes on until we do not want it to go on anymore. So the multicast, the downside to the multicast in this instance could be that the multicast doesn't trigger over the entire world. So if you're on the other side of the map and teleport here, all of a sudden, when I'm locked on here and now you teleport here, the other guy will probably not see this change because the multicast happened before you were network relevant. And the same if I lock on like this and somebody now connects to the game, they will also not see this change because it happened before the other player now were connected. So we want to keep this synced at all times. So that's when we want to use a rep notifier. So we're going to go to our locked on variable and see where we set this. And we're going to change this to actually be a server function and this to actually be a rep notify instead. So custom event server set locked on. Drag this one here. So we just select this one and make it a rep notify. Now we can take this locked on movement function and we can put it inside of this one instead. So what the rep notify does is it fires this function whenever something gets net relevant to make sure that you're always in sync. So if you do lock on and another client connects to the game, for instance, this rep notify will fire its function when the connecting player becomes net relevant. So we can just use this. So this is the actual rep notify variable. We're referencing it inside of its own rep notify. That means we don't need this. So the client function will just call the lock on to make sure it happens instantly on the client. And then it's just going to call the server function instead. This, why is it not aligned? This is the most annoying thing in Unreal. Come on. Why is this not a straight line? And that should work. I hope. It's gonna be really embarrassing if it doesn't work now that I explained all of that. But you can see it does work when I lock on and when I lock off. Ta-da! And that's a much better way of doing it. A much more reliable and much better way of doing it. As a side effect of that, we're just gonna delete that. Comment this all. Server RPC. I can't even remember when we set this up. But that's fine for now. We don't need this. Actually, no, because it gets set here, it gets set here. Need to false it here. Alright, that should replicate that part. Yeah, perfect. We have another issue. What happens if one of these characters die when we are locked on? So that's what happened in the beginning. So just to illustrate, I made a bool, just destroy after delay, made it instances editable just so that I can set it on different actors. And then after 10 seconds, the character that has this true will destroy itself. So I take this NPC here, destroy after a delay. So this means that this one will be destroy itself after 10 seconds. So if I now lock onto this one, what happens when it gets destroyed? Easy. I am still in, it's a very weird situation because I am still in the locked on state, but I'm not actually locked onto anything. So it's trying to always rotate me to the zero vector of the world because it can't find a reference to lock onto, and we're gonna have a bunch of issues. So we want to fix that. So maybe we can do this easily if we get the tick function. Window, find results. I can't remember where I put the tick. Event tick, weapon trace, try lock on rotation. Tick attack rotation we have here. So I do not need it here. That's looks stupid, yeah. Attack rotate, locked on, false. True. What's happening here? tick attack rotation. Attack rotate. Okay, so it seems like this should be no. Okay, yeah, this is the same. I think it's not exactly the same. Cached input rotation. Where do I set this? I do set that in the beginning. Okay, so it's probably fine. This is probably fine. I'm just gonna keep this in here in case. Just keeping it there. This means we can delete this because it doesn't belong here, because this is a lock-on function. And we have, you see here, we have the current target. So if we are locked on and the current target is no longer valid. I'm sorry, I'm not sure you can hear there's an alarm going off outside. Hopefully that doesn't bother us. Hopefully it doesn't go into the video. Okay, so if this current target suddenly become not valid, we need to find next target. Because that should make sure that in the next frame we actually do find a new target. There should be a false node here somewhere. I mean, this should work, but we do need a safety in case there's no... Let's try how this looks now. Locked on. Yeah, there we go. You can see I locked onto the next one now. I looked onto the next one now that the first target died. We do need a way to I'm gonna do pop. That's fine. And then what happens if there's no targets? Then we should exit the lock on. So let's see how this goes on. Find next target. What happens if there are no targets? That's what I want to find out. Let's go away here. So if there are no targets, nothing happens. So maybe it's fine, actually. I'm gonna delete this, so we only have this. Let's see what happens. Okay, that was not fine. If we hit nothing, don't hit anything. As exercise target. Okay, we probably want to, if target actor is empty after this array, so not here inside of the loop. But if this is empty after we try to target something, we should probably exit lock on again. So that should, exactly, so nothing happens if we don't hit something. But if I go here and then he dies, I stopped. See, it seems to work. Let's just confirm it one more time. And let's actually use the small client so we can look from another perspective. I am locked on, locked on, locked on, locked on, and not locked on. And you see, that seems to work fine. Ta-da! So that means when NPCs or something die, we can remove this debug here now. Debug stuff. Perfect. That was smooth. If no targets are found, we instantly exit out of lock. Go back to normal free roam. Perfect. Not sure what this is for. Alright, I think that's most of the stuff for the lock-on system. That looks pretty good. Let me know in the comments if you find any more issues with it. There might be something I completely missed or completely forgot, but looks like it's mostly working now. So in that case, I'll deal with it in the next video or two. And perfect, that's gonna be it for this one. I will see you in the next one. Bye!